Ryan Mitchell stood at the open freight car door, staring at stacks of boxes that should have only contained food products. For 36 hours, something had been trapped in complete darkness inside the sealed container, making rhythmic sounds that terrified the workers. When the metal door finally swung open, what emerged from between the boxes left everyone speechless. Ryan Mitchell had been working as a railway engineer for 12 years. In all that time, he had seen broken equipment, delayed shipments, and mechanical failures. But the call he received that Tuesday morning was different. Officials were requesting an immediate inspection of a freight train that had been sitting idle near town. They needed him there right away. The reason sounded routine enough. Intermittent noises were coming from inside the train, strange sounds that workers couldn't explain. Ryan gathered his tools and his team. He checked his equipment twice. Within the hour, they were heading to the location. The freight train had been stranded there for 2 full days. A recent landslide had blocked the tracks ahead, leaving the cargo train stuck in an area not designed for long-term parking. Nobody had paid much attention to it at first. Trains got delayed all the time. It was part of the job. But then the sounds started. When Ryan and his crew arrived at the scene, they found several train attendants already waiting. The men looked uneasy. Some were smoking cigarettes nervously. Something had rattled them. Ryan approached and asked what was going on. The attendants explained they had initially suspected a mechanical problem, perhaps a loose coupling somewhere along the train, maybe a malfunctioning brake system creating friction, standard issues they had seen before. But as they walked alongside the train trying to pinpoint the source, they realized something odd. The noises were coming from the rear freight cars. The sounds were irregular, sometimes faint, like distant tapping, sometimes louder, more insistent. Some workers thought animals had gotten trapped inside one of the containers. A raccoon or stray dog that had wandered into an open car before it was sealed. But a few of the attendants refused to approach those rear cars at all. They claimed the noises were too strange, too deliberate. Ryan dismissed their concerns. He had dealt with nervous workers before. Superstitions and fear spread quickly among crews. Still, he couldn't shake an eerie feeling as they moved toward the back of the train. Something about the situation felt off. The air felt heavy. The silence between the sounds made everything worse. The investigation began methodically. Ryan and 2 railway officials walked the length of the train, stopping at each container to listen. They pressed their ears against the cold metal walls. The sun beat down on them as they worked. Most were completely silent, just the hollow echo of empty metal shells or the stillness of secured cargo. But when they reached one of the last freight cars, they heard it clearly. Rhythmic tapping, then shuffling, then silence, then tapping again. Ryan pulled out his tablet and checked the manifest. According to the shipping documents, the container was supposed to be carrying packaged food products, boxes of crackers, juice, canned goods, standard grocery items being transported to a distribution center. Nothing that should be making noise, nothing living. But something inside that container was definitely moving. They decided to open it. Ryan signaled to one of the officials, who produced a set of keys. The heavy metal door had been sealed tight, locked from the outside with industrial bolts. As they worked to unfasten it, the tapping grew louder, more frantic, more desperate. Whatever was inside knew they were there. The metal door finally swung open with a loud creak that echoed across the empty rail yard. Ryan raised his flashlight, and the beam swept across stacks of cardboard boxes piled high inside the dark container. The boxes were neatly arranged in rows. Dust particles floated in the beam of light. Then the light caught movement. Someone was inside. Ryan's heart raced as he called out into the darkness. His voice bounced off the metal walls. For a moment, there was only silence. The officials behind him stepped closer. Then slowly, a small figure emerged from between the boxes. Tiny hands gripped the cardboard edges for support. A young boy stepped into the light. He was no older than 7, maybe 8 at most. His clothes were dirty and wrinkled. His face was streaked with tears and grime. His eyes squinted against the sudden brightness after being trapped in complete darkness. His lips were cracked from dehydration. His hair was matted with sweat. But he was alive. Ryan climbed into the container and knelt beside the boy. He asked if he was hurt. The boy shook his head. His voice was hoarse. He had been crying for hours. Ryan wrapped his jacket around the child's shoulders. The boy trembled beneath the fabric. Paramedics were called immediately. While they waited, the boy began to explain what had happened. Ryan listened carefully, his stomach sinking with every detail. He had been playing near the railway tracks the day before. He wanted to explore. When he saw the open freight car sitting idle by the tracks, he climbed inside to see what was in there. But then he heard voices outside. Then the door slammed shut. The sound of metal bolts sliding into place echoed through the darkness. He was sealed inside. He banged on the walls and shouted as loud as he could. But the container was soundproof from the outside. Nobody heard him. Eventually, thirst and hunger forced him to search through the cargo. He felt his way through the darkness, fumbling between boxes. He tore open packages of crackers and found juice boxes. And finally, someone did. What shocked everyone most was that the boy wasn't from the local area. He lived several miles away. He had sneaked out of his house early that morning to explore, wandering farther than anyone expected. Officials immediately contacted his family. The call was brief but life-changing. Their son had been found. He was alive. He was safe. They would see him soon. And would you let your child explore near railway tracks after hearing this story?